Alright, so welcome back, and we are going to continue the design of our product details page. And we have two things to do here, two major things to do here, which of course they might be a little bit complex, but they are also very simple. So the first thing is to actually, when the user open this product details page, we want this image to be populated, we want the product name to come up, we want the product price as we have designed. And a second task would be that when the user click on this buy now, we want them to also we want to save that to the users table so that they can have the order that they are buying in their record. So we are also going to be saving that to the database. So that's the two major things that we're going to be doing on this page. So just mentioning that to make it simple and simplify it. So of course we have been able to work on these buttons, and they're actually working now. If you see our blog, you realize the fact that our logout button is working, our product details, our go back to home page is working, the go back to user dashboard and the likes, every of our buttons are working. So when the screen open, we want to populate the product details so that the user can actually have an idea of which product they are actually dealing with. So we go ahead now to do that. So to do that, I've just come to this place and I'll try to bring it zoom in a bit. Try to zoom in a bit, and I am going to be checking when the screen opens. So I'll come to this product detail screen. So when the screen open, now don't forget that this route is a protected route, meaning that the user should not be able to come to the screen if they are not logging. So we are going to be checking if the user was actually logged in. So, and don't forget how we have been checking that, and that is to check if the stored variable, the stored email or the stored user ID has something in it. So that's what we are going to be using to check if the user was actually logged in or not. So to do that, I just want you to use the if else statement, and to use that you come to the control. So you use the if else. So you check, before for this case we actually use the stored email. Now this time around I want us to use another value. Don't forget, when we're sending the user, we're actually storing the email and we are storing the user ID. So this time around I want us to try out the user ID. So I'll come to this logic and I'll take this equivalent sign to check if the stored email or stored user ID is actually none or not. So if it is none, that means the user is not signing. That means we should navigate them to the login page. Why if it is not none, that means they are signing, that means they can remain on that page. So we're going to be coming to this variable, and we're going to be taking this time around. I say let's use the store ID. Of course you can use the store email too, but of course you can use the store user ID. So just showing this too so that you can have an idea of what is possible for us to use. So we're going to check if it is none. If it is none, if it is nothing, none means nothing. If it is nothing or if it does not have value, then what are you going to do? That means the user is not signing. Then do this. That means navigate them to the login page. Otherwise, if it is not none, that means if this else is executed, that means they are signed in. Then we can then go ahead to populate the screen for them. So let's first navigate them first. So if this is none, then login navigate them to the login page. Now if it is not none, then make them remain on that page. Now in order for us to be able to populate this product details page, if you look at on our user dashboard, we actually this on our user dashboard, you realize the fact that we have something that we call product row objects. And the idea is that, let me just map up the object. So you don't forget I told you that object is a set of key value pairs. So if you come to this our Excel sheet data, now look at something now. Don't forget this is our heading, this is name, this is price, image URL, category, and description. So if I actually looking at this now, looking at this, you actually have an idea of what I'm talking about now. So if you look at this is a particular, let's say the user click on this first one. So if the user click on this first one, so that means we have the row product row object of the name of this column is actually name. The name of this column is price. The name of this column is image URL from our Excel sheet. Image URL. The name of this column is category, and the name of this column is description. Name of this column is description. So, and this is we call this an object. We call this an object. So that means this object is the value, while the heading is the key. We are going to be using that in this at this point in time, and that's why I'm taking my time to just illustrate it for you. So this is one row. Of course, you can have another row, you can have another row based on what the user click on. So, but let's say this is what the user click on. So the key now will now be name to be equals to cotton, okra, and so on and so forth. That is the first object. Then you go ahead for the second one. The second key will be price, key value pair object. You are learning programming. So the price is 150. Of course, it can be a string too. And also the image URL is another key. Image URL is another key, and the value is this HTTPS textile something and so on and so forth. You get the idea. Now the next one, which is the category, next one which is the category will now be category, which is the key, and the value will be textile. And the next one, which is another key, will now be description, and the value will be this lorem ipsum, so on and so forth. You get the idea. So this is what we are going to be working with. This is the object. So this is what we are going to be using to populate the user. So just know that this is what we have as the product row. So when I see product row in here, when I say when you see your Thunkable and you're seeing something like product row object that you are going to be getting in this product details page, you should know that this is what product row objects look like. So this is what product row objects look like. So this is what it looks like. I believe you can see. So that means if I need to get that 150, this value 150, so that means I should say product row objects dot the key, just price. So this will definitely give me the value 150. I believe you get the point. So now that we have been able to do that, let us now go ahead with the implementation. So meaning that when if the user is actually logged in, if they are not logged in, to take them to the login page, while if they are logged in, then we can then populate the screen for them. So the first thing we want to populate is the product name. Product name. So I take this label product name. Don't forget the reason why it's important for you to name your components properly. So set label product name. The text I want to set it to, don't forget that we are dealing with an object here. So when you are dealing with an object, to get the property, to get that price property that I showed you here, to get something like this, but for the product name, it is not price that you're going to be getting. To know what you're going to be getting, if you check this, you realize the fact that the product name will be property name, property, name, property, name. So we then go ahead to say object, and I'll get property, put it here. And what is the object I want to get the property of? So I'll come to this my variables, and I'll come to, you can see variable product row object that will set when we come to this page. So app variable product row object, and from there I want to take test. Which property am I trying to get? I like to be, I love to make it nice. So the property I'm trying to get is the name of the column, which is name. So let's see if it's actually work by us coming to the dashboard page first and preview. Now I think we are signed out already. So of course you can see that we actually preview the user dashboard, but it navigates us back to the user to the login, meaning that at the moment we are not logged in. So we go ahead to login. So I will say to gmail.com and the password. Yeah, so of course you can tell username, you can see the product. So I'll click on this product, and now you can see that our product name is showing. Our product name is showing, but something is wrong here. So if it's a very long name, some parts will not show. So we can correct that in the design. So but at least we can see that the product name property that we set is showing. So let's go ahead to just set everything and I'll test it. So that means actually we can actually verify at this point that we are getting the product through objects, and we can actually query it by using the object property based on the property that we want. So the next thing now is now to just fill everything and ensure that our product page display properly. So I'll go back to editing. I'll fix that design issue for the price for the product name first. So I'll change this back to select. I'll create it. I'll bring this down. And for this, I'll increase it. Alright, I think we are good. So I'll come to the blocks. So now I am going to be coming to the product image. So the product image, I am going to come label product image. Yeah, this is an image, so I'll take this. Don't forget the value there is the product image URL. We are going to be using the get property object. I'm going to duplicate this and put it here, and you can see that we have the object as product row object already, and the property that we want to get for that is this one. So just copy it. Sometimes you can just copy to ensure that you spell correctly, because if you don't spell correctly it will not work. So of course we have been able to set the image URL now. So let's go ahead with the price. So label product price, I come to set the text again, I drag it under this place, I duplicate the get property, put it here. So the product row object is still the property, is still the object. So the property I want to get for the price is this. So I'll just copy this, put it here. So ensure that there's no white space, otherwise it will not work. So I am going to duplicate this, no, I don't want to duplicate letters so that we don't get ourselves confused. Alright, so the next thing now is the description body. So label description body, set label description body, and now I'm going to duplicate the get property, and the description that I actually